Hot on the heels of successfully getting the Côté mine to commercial production, IAMGOLD has seemingly kept their eye steadily focused on growth. The intermediate gold producer this week announced not one, but two major transactions as they work to consolidate the Chibougamau region of Quebec, which houses both the Monster Lake and Nelligan properties. This week's acquisitions will result in the establishment of a new mining complex within IAMGOLD's portfolio, while creating what will be one of the largest pre-production gold camps in the country, with tens of millions of gold ounces and resources across all categories. Sound intriguing? Let's dive in. IAMGOLD is embarking on their next journey of growth, announcing on Monday that they have come to terms to acquire both Northern Superior Resources as well as Mines d'Orbec as they work to consolidate an underappreciated region of Quebec. The acquisitions will bring together three large land packages to establish a new district-scale asset package under IAMGOLD's banner, which will become their next focus of development. First, the acquisition of Northern Superior will bring to IAMGOLD the Philibert, Chevrier, and Croteau properties, which collectively have indicated resources of 538,000 ounces of gold, as well as inferred resources of 3 million ounces of gold, with the Philibert property contiguous to both IAMGOLD's Monster Lake and Nelligan properties, and the Lac Surprise exploration asset contiguous to Nelligan. These claims serve as the missing piece to IAMGOLD establishing a complex in the region. Honorable mention also goes to Chevrier, which is adjacent to the northeastern portion of Monster Lake. Secondly, the acquisition of Mines d'Orbec works to fill in the gaps between Monster Lake, Philibert, Nelligan, and Lac Surprise, with their Muse project, which is the missing piece to this entire puzzle. Collectively, these assets will be consolidated to establish the Nelligan Mining Complex, which on a combined basis will have measured and indicated resources of 3.8 million ounces of gold and inferred resources of 8.7 million ounces. And if you happen to be a Northern Superior shareholder, there's also a spin-out angle to this entire arrangement, providing further upside to shareholders. All right, let's get into some of the deeper details here, starting with Northern Superior. Under the terms of the arrangement, Northern Superior shareholders are set to receive 0.0991 of a share of IAMGOLD, as well as 19 cents in cash for each share they hold of SUP. As of the time of the announcement, that works out to consideration of about $2.05 per share. Although as of the time of recording, it's about $2.10 a share due to positive sentiment behind this whole arrangement. The arrangement itself values Northern Superior at about $375 million Canadian, while the offer price represents a premium of about 45% to last Friday's close, which was the day before the deal was announced. On top of that, Northern Superior's interest in IAMGOLD resources is set to be distributed to Northern Superior shareholders immediately before this transaction closes, with that interest collectively worth about $30 million. For Northern Superior, this transaction is a culmination of the entire strategy. IAMGOLD was always viewed as the natural acquirer of the company, and SUP wasn't shy about it. The strategy put forth by CEO Simon Marcotte was simple. Gold camps always get consolidated with a driving force. This was evident in Guyana, where the effort was led by Nelligan Mining, and in Finland, which was driven by Agnico, and the Yukon, which was driven by Goldcorp. Chibougamau was simply the next iteration of this strategy, where IAMGOLD is and remains the driving force. To this end, Marcotte worked to assemble and explore a land package that was simply irresistible to IAMGOLD, with three properties bordering IMG's portfolio with millions of ounces of gold identified within those claims. Northern Superior was explicit in this strategy, stating that they look at the camp as one project, while all their deposits are located in a small radius which will eventually allow them to be combined into a single operational design, feeding a single mill. Northern Superior shareholders, as a result, should be unsurprised by the commentary contained within IAMGOLD's associated news release, which stated that the close proximity of the primary deposits to each other supports the conceptual vision of a central processing facility being fed from multiple ore sources within a 17-kilometer radius. Talk about vindication of a long-term strategy. As for the Mines d'Orbec transaction, shareholders of this name are also set to receive both cash and shares as compensation. Shareholders are set to receive 0.003466 of a share of IAMGOLD, as well as 6.25 cents in cash for each share held, which at the time of announcement worked out to compensation of about 12.5 cents per share, although it's now closer to 13 cents per share as of the time of recording. The transaction here values the company at about $17 million, which is net of IAMGOLD's current 6.7% ownership interest in the company, and amounts to a premium of about 25% relative to Friday's close. For IAMGOLD, the target here is the Muse project, which is squeezed between their Nelligan and Monster Lake claims. Unlike Northern Superior, however, this land package is very early stage and contains no resource estimates. Instead, it is viewed as being highly prospective for gold and base metals, given it contains the intersection of two major structural breaks in the region. Regional exploration and drilling to date on the land package is said to have totaled about $9 million, with the company previously collaborating with IAMGOLD to identify Nelligan-style targets on the claims. As part of the arrangement here, IAMGOLD has also provided $500,000 to Mines Orbec in the form of an unsecured convertible debenture, which will fund working capital in the interim period between deal announcement and close. Outside of the premiums being paid to shareholders of Northern Superior and Mines Orbec in connection with the definitive agreements, there's plenty to like about this 1-2 punch in regional consolidation. First, both of these names saw their strategy of closeology and regional consolidation go exactly as planned. IAMGOLD was the natural acquirer of the region, and make no mistake, that was the best by both of these management teams. Post-transaction, IAMGOLD's 38,000 hectares of claims will see the addition of Northern Superior's 70,000 hectares and Orbec's 25,000 hectares, creating a regional behemoth. Secondly, investors in these explorers will now receive immediate exposure to an intermediate gold producer that is heavily focused on growth. Côté hit nameplate capacity in June of this year, and now consolidation is underway in a fresh gold camp where there is a clear intention to build a mine. Production in the first half of this year totaled 334,000 ounces of gold from IAMGOLD's portfolio. Guidance calls for up to 820,000 ounces this year, and with their balance sheet now cleaned up, they're expected to make significant cash flows, and that was before gold hit $4,000 an ounce. And on the topic of balance sheets, as of their last report, IAMGOLD's cash position sits at $224 million, with total liquidity of $600 million, not to mention their portfolio of quality assets. Overall, the acquisitions by IAMGOLD represents a serious de-risking event for investors that previously played in the junior markets, with the added benefit for Northern Superior shareholders that they receive shares in IAMGOLD as a result of the transaction. All right, so let's wrap it up. Monday was the culmination of a long-term strategy for two gold explorers focused on Quebec. Conveniently, it also came after the markets rose a bit from gold's recent run, which is a nice change of pace for investors in an industry that's used to being so beaten up. There's also something to be said about a major buying up explorers, which is always a great sign for us junior mining investors. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. As always, if there's stories you want us to cover, please let us know in the comments section. Also, if you want more mining content, check out our website over at thedeepdive.ca. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. All right, everybody, thanks for watching.